On this holiday weekend, freedom in Afghanistan was under threat, with U.S. forces preparing to pull out. Many residents are afraid the Taliban will rise to power again and ruin the new way of life they've come to enjoy. Charlie D'Agata has more now from Kabul.
Saeed Mohammed has been playing music his whole life and remembers when Taliban militants first caught him breaking the rules as a young boy. They gave me a beating, he says. I couldn't stand for 3 days. When the U.S. invaded Afghanistan in 2001 and defeated the Taliban, Saeed started making a living as a musician. Girls were going back to school and women holding important positions in the government. They could wear makeup. Men could shave their beards. This barber says Afghanistan has entered a whole new world of freedom since the Taliban left. But the hardline Islamists have made a comeback. As we witnessed this week, the front line is closing in on the capital by the day. For the past 20 years, you used to have to get into a helicopter to get to the front line with the Taliban. Now it's just a drive away from the capital as Taliban militants have advanced to a neighboring province to Kabul. The Taliban now controls more territory than at any time since the invasion. Even the commander of U.S. forces, General Scott Miller, gave a dire assessment.
Civil war is certainly a path that can be visualized if this continues on the trajectory it's on right now. That should be a concern to the world.
The security situation has deteriorated so quickly. A U.S. intelligence report warns that Kabul itself could fall within 6 months after American forces pull out. Charlie D'Agata, CBS News, Kabul.
Right now it's 6.
You can't stand with survivors of sexual assault and with Bill Cosby on this one. You just can't.
Reaction tonight from Howard University to an apology from its new dean, Felicia Rashad, for comments she made following Bill Cosby's release from jail. Plus, as thousands return from July 4th weekend at the beach, a popular pizza joint is blaming the Bay Bridge traffic for its demise.
We are heating up. Temperatures were warm today and it was a little humid. Tomorrow, even hotter. I'm talking about a heat index up near 100.
Can a fully vaccinated person transmit the Delta variant to an unvaccinated person? Our Verified team is getting answers from the experts and providing a little comfort for embattled Capitol police officers in the form of a new support dog. Good evening. I'm Leslie Foster. New at 6, Howard University's newest dean is doing some damage control. Felicia Rashad publicly shared her support for Bill Cosby when he was released in a tweet, and that brought on some backlash. She apologized in an email sent to students and parents. Matthew Torres has more on the note and what's happened since.
In a recent letter to her College of Fine Arts students, newly appointed Howard University Dean Felicia Rashad apologizes for defending Bill Cosby, saying, "I am sorry. I intend to earn your trust and forgiveness." Bill Cosby walking away as a free man last week after a judge overturned his 2018 conviction. Rashad, his former TV wife, quickly supporting his release by tweeting, "Finally, a terrible wrong is being righted. A miscarriage of justice is corrected." She has since taken down the tweet after major backlash and vows to engage in active listening and participate in trainings.
I personally support Ms. Rashad's right to come to her own conclusions.
While some Howard graduates like Rob Hall have no issue with her comment, many others criticize Rashad, including sexual assault survivors, for being insensitive. Rashad followed up with this tweet saying, "I fully support survivors of sexual assault coming forward."
You can't stand with survivors of sexual assault and with Bill Cosby on this one. You just can't.
This D.C. attorney represented 6 Howard University students known as Jane Does in this now settled lawsuit in 2017. They alleged the university responded poorly to sexual assault cases. She says Rashad's response sets a bad tone.
These kinds of statements have a chilling effect on people who've experienced sexual assault. Comments like this are not opposing that kind of behavior.
Despite what Rashad said, the tweet is now helping a former student's cause in supporting victims of sexual assault.
Being a survivor is really, really, really costly.
Former Howard student Nyla Burton started this Black Survivors Healing Fund last year after dozens of students shared experiences of sexual harassment and violence while attending the school. Since Rashad's tweet, close to 100 people donated.
You know, people are going to need money for therapy, and they're going to need money for whatever it is that's going to help them heal.
While she's upset with Rashad's tweet, her focus is on helping victims, which she says includes 20 survivors and 20 others on a waiting list, all former and current Howard students. Matthew Torres, WUSA9.
In response to Phylicia Rashad's apology, Bill Cosby just released a statement saying, in part, Howard University must support one's freedom of speech, which is taught or supposed to be taught every day at that renowned law school which resides on your campus. The number of Americans getting on planes hit another pandemic-era high this holiday weekend. The TSA says just under 2.2 million travelers were screened at U.S. airports on Friday, the highest number since early March 2020. Data shows U.S. airlines scheduled nearly twice as many flights over the July 4th weekend than they did last year. Airlines say domestic leisure travel is back to 2019 levels. But the lack of business travelers means that overall, the number of passengers over the past week is still down slightly compared with the same days in 2019. The summer beach traffic crisis in communities near the Chesapeake Bay Bridge has reached an ugly milestone. This is according to some residents of Kent Island. A popular restaurant closed there permanently. The owner told us that gridlock on local roads makes it virtually impossible to stay open, and he predicts that more businesses may have to shut down. Here's Scott Broom from Stevensville, Maryland.
This is Delessio's. It used to be one of the most popular pizza restaurants here in Stevensville on Kent Island, but it closed permanently on June 12th.
It's been crippling.
Owner James Cronin blames beach traffic gridlock and other Bay Bridge crossing disruptions for his difficult decision.
We were no longer able to have delivery drivers take food out. Locals wouldn't come out because of the traffic situation. And it also affects your ability to hire people. People don't want to work that close to the bridge because they have trouble getting to and from work. And sometimes we had trouble getting food delivered because the delivery trucks couldn't get there. It's really progressed over the last several years, much worse than it ever was before. And there just seems to be no solution in sight.
Local authorities blame traffic apps like Waze for making a bad traffic situation even worse. By detouring travelers off Route 50, trying to beat Bay Bridge traffic onto local roads, this local video released by Queen Anne's County shows jammed side roads. The president of the Kent Island Volunteer Fire Department explained to me back in May that this has become a public safety crisis, too.
Somebody's going to die. When traffic is gridlocked, like it gets on Sundays, we physically can't get to the station to then get the equipment out. Everybody gets off of the main road and they think it's some secret shortcut to get to the bridge because of Waze or some of these apps that tell them, hey, get off here. And you're really not saving any time. You're better off just staying on Route 50.
County Commissioner Jim Moran is encouraging law enforcement authorities to close exits more often to keep beach traffic off side roads. Plans to expand the Bay Bridge are still in the environmental study process. Moran believes it could be a decade before there's relief. James Cronin told me the next tenant here where Delessio's used to be will be an orthodontist who doesn't take patients on beach traffic Sundays. On Kent Island, Scott Broom, WUSA9.
All those people returning from the beach could not have had nicer weather this holiday weekend, but things are going to heat up again. Chester Lampkin is here with the forecast.
Yeah,
hot.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. Temperatures on the rise, Leslie, over the next couple of days. This evening, if you're stepping out, let me get out of the way and show you these numbers. They're not bad, actually. We're down into the 80s here, 9 o'clock, 70s for the overnight hours, a warm and at times muggy night ahead for us here in the DC area. Check out the heat index tomorrow, okay? That heat index is going to be up around 95 to 100 degrees here, the peak heating hours of the day. 88 at 10:30 in the morning, feels like 96 at 1:30, and there we are close to 100 at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And it's going to be hot up and down the East Coast here. I'm going to talk about this heat in detail. We're also going to track some thunderstorms that may impact you next couple of days. All that coming up in just a few minutes. Back to you.
All right. President Biden is sounding the alarm on the rise of the more contagious Delta variant of COVID-19. The Delta variant now makes up more than a quarter of all new COVID cases nationwide. So far, around 67% of American adults have received at least one COVID shot, just shy of the president's July 4th goal of 70%.
The best defense against these variants is to get vaccinated.
The White House says it is prepared to mobilize surge teams to parts of the country with higher rates of vaccine hesitancy. That COVID-19 Delta variant is becoming more prevalent across the country. The CDC estimates that it represents 20% of all cases, and it will continue to grow. Brandon Lewis from our Verified team looks into what this means for vaccinated people.
The Centers for Disease Control calls the Delta variant a variant of concern and is warning of a potential surge in COVID-19 cases if vaccination rates don't increase. Verified viewer Ellen wants to know, can a fully vaccinated person transmit the Delta variant to an unvaccinated person? So Ellen, let's verify. Our sources are the CDC, the World Health Organization, and the Los Angeles Department of Public Health. The Delta variant was first identified in India and is about 50% more transmissible than the Alpha variant, which is now the dominant strain in the United States.
Delta is the most transmissible of the variants identified so far and is spreading rapidly among unvaccinated populations.
That's why the CDC is warning we could see a new surge in COVID-19 cases if vaccination rates don't increase. The good news is the current vaccines are effective at preventing severe illness or death from the Delta variant. But that's an important distinction. The CDC explains in general, quote, a small percentage of people who are fully vaccinated will still get COVID-19 if they are exposed to the virus, unquote. Those are called breakthrough cases. And in some instances, the person doesn't even know that they're sick and potentially able to spread the virus to an unvaccinated person. In response to the Delta variant, Los Angeles public health officials are now strongly recommending everyone, even vaccinated people, resume wearing masks indoors again. So, Ellen, we can verify it's true. A vaccinated person can transmit the Delta variant to an unvaccinated person, but they're far less likely to do so because they are vaccinated. Remember, many communities have same-day appointments for vaccines, which can help stop the spread of COVID-19. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis. Want something verified? Email us or send us a text. For more Verify stories or to sign up for our newsletter, go to verifythis.com.
Tropical storm Elsa makes landfall in Cuba. Meteorologist Chester Lampkin is tracking whether that storm will be heading our way. But first, we're talking about deck safety after two of them collapsed just last week. We're going to tell you how to make sure you're safe for the summer. Now to some painful new numbers from the Surfside condo collapse in Florida. Search teams have recovered 3 more bodies. We now know 27 people lost their lives in that collapse, but 118 are still missing. Rescue teams have resumed their search about midnight last night after demolition experts brought down the part of the tower that was still standing.
Bringing the building down in a controlled manner was critical to expanding our scope of search. Truly, we could not continue without bringing this building down.
Now, a bit of good news. Tropical storm Elsa no longer appears to be a threat to this area of South Florida, so those rescue teams can keep working unencumbered. Back here in Montgomery County, officials are still investigating 2 decks that just collapsed last week. And we know that's where you want to be this summer, so we spoke with a home inspector to get some tips on how to make sure yours is safe. First, he says, check underneath for any rust. And second, make sure that you can't feel the deck moving at all while you're standing on it. The third thing is to take a look at the place where your deck meets your house to make sure it is properly secured. Overall, he says, you want to make sure it can handle added weight before you pile people on.
They take TLC. So, once a deck is at least 10 years old, I tell people to inspect them every year, even if they do it themselves. Just look at the different pieces of your deck. They even take pictures to compare it to the year before.
It's a good reminder. We've got some more helpful tips for you online at WUSA9.com. There is a new member of the Capitol Police Force tonight. We're going to introduce you to Lila when we come back. Now to a developing story out of Northwest D.C. That's where a 5-year-old boy was shot in the hand during a July 4th picnic. Apparently, no one noticed at first, and how it happened is still a mystery. This child was playing in a backyard along the 3500 block of 11th Street. At some point, his hand swelled up so badly, he was taken to the hospital. X-rays showed a bullet lodged in his hand. So doctors tended to that. Meanwhile, police searched the area around that backyard, but they found nothing. It is a mystery. Capitol Police have been through a lot of stress this year. 3 of its officers died in the line of duty, and it faces congressional investigations into its actions during the January insurrection. So one charity is stepping up to help with a support dog for this embattled police force. WUSA9's Nathan Baca has the story.
Meet the newest member of the U.S. Capitol Police Force, Lila, a 2-year-old black Labrador retriever who couldn't quite make the cut as a guide dog for the visually impaired. Lila isn't around to confront suspects. She's around to help out troubled and stressed officers.
Poor Lila is a little bit of a sensitive soul, and so asking her to do that guide work, even though she could, you could definitely see it was a difficult task for her.
Let's give a round of applause for Lila.
Lila arrived from California on July 4th, getting pet by passengers who heard the announcement of her new assignment. With the training help of her teenage son, retired California Sheriff's Captain Kobe Webb runs a program retraining dogs. She says Capitol Police was top of mind.
This is the first time in history the things that they're going through and how the loss and the impact, I can't even imagine all of their stressors. And that was the best partner, because I could tell the dog anything and the dog wouldn't tell anybody, and it would get me through the day with just a kiss or a nudge.
The program hopes other D.C. area police forces take in support dogs that can also be used to help victims reporting crimes.
I think if you just look at this little girl and that waggly tail and that smile, and if we can just bring some smiles and we can just bring some heart back to people to help them get through their day, to help them do this tough job that we need them to do.
Lila got to play the role of tourist, getting a walk around the U.S. Capitol, but Lila's office will be just down the street at U.S. Capitol Police Headquarters. Reporting from the U.S. Capitol, Nathan Baca, WUSA9.
Chester, you have been the bearer of hot news for more than a week now.
Not the kind of hot news most people want.
No.
But it's July.
It is July, and we've come to expect these sultry temperatures with the humidity, although it does rock us a little bit when you tell us we got a stretch of days to deal with.
Yeah, and this is going to be a 2 to 3 day stretch of really hot weather. Today we did not hit 90.
Okay.
But tomorrow, that is pretty much a guarantee. And then you're also wondering about this tropical system, Elsa. It made landfall in Cuba. In fact, I'm going to show you that here on a map shortly. Look at the flooding that they're having with that. Now, this is, Cuba gets struck by tropical systems all the time, so this is not unusual for them. However, still, it is a heavy rainmaker, and this being the 5th tropical system of the Atlantic season, it's only early July. We still have a lot of season left. Let's hope this is the worst they have to deal with it, and for us as well, as this is forecast to make landfall in Florida as yet another tropical system as well. Winds of 50 miles per hour right now. It is expected to strengthen and then weaken as it hits land here sometime in that Wednesday time period there. Let's say just east of Panama City, north and west of Tampa, close to the Tallahassee area. And then it makes a beeline for our region. Now, the storm track from the National Hurricane Center keeps it south and east of us. So more than likely, not for sure, but more than likely the storm is going to miss us to the southeast. It's going to be a rainmaker for the beaches, but for us, we may not get much out of it. Quite a bit of clouds right now, still hot, 86, humid too, feels like 90 with that dew point at 69. That is a muggy air mass that's in place here. That dew point's going to hover in the upper 60s to low 70s next few days, so we're going to be stuck with this. And that heat index, because of how hot it's going to be tomorrow, up into the triple digits here heading into your Tuesday afternoon, so get ready for that. Let's go to the Futurecast to try to time out any rain. And we do have a slight chance for a storm. We're dry tonight, warm to start tomorrow. There's noon. Hot, humid, feels like 100 out there already. And there's the isolated storm stuff that pops up on your Tuesday afternoon, early evening. Not everyone will see rain chances will be limited, but if you do get a storm, quite a downpour possible tomorrow afternoon. So tonight, a warm, muggy night, lows 70s in town, 60s in outlying areas. We'll start warm, we'll start sunny, another muggy day, and then we'll jump into the 90s tomorrow afternoon. The heat index is hot as 96 to 101 for your Tuesday afternoon. And yeah, we could pop a couple thunderstorms or two. And tomorrow's not the end of the heat. I mean, we've got Wednesday to deal with. Probably the same story. Heat index as hot as 102, 103 with a high of 95. But again, that heat index really up there. Then we'll scatter in storms Thursday, maybe a storm Friday, and a few more storms possible at the back end of the weekend. We do cool off for a couple days Thursday and Friday, but the heat does return back to the 90s by Saturday and Sunday.
WUSA9 Sports with Darren Haynes, sponsored by Xfinity.
All right, so here's what's on my mind. Columbus Blue Jackets goalie Mateusz Kivlenieks died Sunday night at the age of only 24 years old. Now, you may not know who Kivlenieks is, but this is why I'm telling you his story. Kivlenieks died after being struck in the chest by a firework at a 4th of July celebration. Police say the fireworks tilted and started to hit towards some of the people, and Mateusz was one of those who got hit. Now, if you didn't know, the launch speed of a firework can be as high as 150 miles per hour, and the shells can range from 2.5 to 12 inches in diameter. A baseball is a little bit more than 2.5 inches in diameter. Imagine just a baseball hitting someone in the chest at 150 miles per hour. Thankfully, only a few minor injuries from fireworks have occurred in the D.C. area on the holiday, but we all know someone's lighting fireworks tonight. Let this be a warning. You never know when something like what happened to Mateusz Kivlenieks could easily happen to you. That's what's on my mind. What's on your mind about the fireworks safety? Hit me up on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram at Darren M. Haynes. Now, the Wizards' coaching search has narrowed down to several assistants, according to reports. Names like Dallas's Jamal Mosley, Milwaukee's Darvin Ham, and Denver's Wes Unseld Jr., the son of Hall of Famer and former Washington Bullet Wes Unseld Sr. Now, Wes Jr. used to be an assistant with the Wizards. Darvin Ham played for the Washington Wizards for one season. Reports say these three candidates will talk to the Wizards again this week. The Wizards are looking to fill their head coaching vacancy after they fired Scott Brooks last month. None of these coaches have ever had a head coaching gig in the NBA. If the Wizards hire one of them, it will be the first time the Wizards hired a first-time coach since Leonard Hamilton in 2000. Hamilton resigned after just one season.
I'll say this, everybody's got to have a first chance at some point,
That
right?
is true. That is right.
So we'll see what happens. All right, Dee, we'll take a quick break.
Coming up later tonight on the Q&A, the Smithsonian Museums are back open, but tickets are hard to come by. So how can you get them? Plus, why do mosquitoes go after you more than your friends? We're getting answers next at 7.
My good friends here declaring their independence from wearing ties tonight.
It is that kind of day.
Good to see. Good to see. We're going to need a fan.
We will.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, no ties tomorrow, maybe, because it's going to be so hot next couple of days. It does get cooler for Thursday and Friday.
All right, that's it for us. Lorenzo is coming back here at 7 with the Q&A. The CBS Evening News with Nora O'Donnell is next, and we'll all be back at 11 o'clock. See you then.